Hi, everyone, and welcome to Listening 360, the podcast where we help you improve your English listening skills through real-life conversations and everyday topics. Whether you're preparing for the IELTS or just want to feel more confident with spoken English, you're in the right place. New episodes drop every Friday night, so don't forget to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a lesson. Welcome back. So, for this deep dive, we're going to really immerse ourselves in something pretty common: checking into a hotel.
Right, and not just to check in, but also handling those special requests you might have.
Exactly. It's super relevant whether you're studying for the IELTS listening section or honestly, just for traveling in general. We've looked at quite a few dialogues and guides.
Basic ESL stuff to more advanced sort of hotel etiquette phrases. It gives a good range.
Our main goal here is to help you pick up on not just the words, but the flow, the expected questions, the subtle things, really boost that listening confidence.
And we'll weave in a couple of useful English idioms you often hear in these kinds of situations too.
Perfect. So let's dive in. You've just walked into the hotel lobby. What's the very first step, usually?
Well, you go up to the reception desk, right? And you need to let them know you're there. Do you have a booking?
Yeah, you'd say something like, "Hi, I have a reservation under the name Smith," or whatever. Or maybe just, "My name's Jones. I booked a room for tonight."
Simple enough. And almost immediately, the next thing they'll ask for is probably your ID.
Right. Passport, driver's license, something like that. You'll hear, "Could I see your ID, please?" Or maybe, "Do you have some identification?"
Standard procedure everywhere, really. Yeah. They need to match you to the booking.
Then comes the credit card bit, which, interestingly, in some of the examples we saw, American Express wasn't always accepted.
That popped up. Usually Visa or MasterCard are fine, but it's a good reminder maybe have a backup. They ask for this mainly for incidentals.
Yes, incidentals like a room service, mini bar, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Any extra charges. Then they'll usually double check how long you're staying. So that's for 3 nights, something like that.
So ID, credit card, length of stay confirmed. What's next?
Then it's on to the room assignment. This is where you get the key details. Your room number, obviously.
And the floor it's on, maybe the type of bed, queen, king, double.
Twin, single. And they'll likely confirm if it's non-smoking, assuming you requested that. Sometimes they're not too busy. They might even ask if you have a preference, near the elevator or far away.
Or maybe a room with a view, if that's an option.
Right. And then, right after sorting the room, that's usually when they give you the quick rundown of hotel amenities.
Oh, yeah. The important stuff, like when and where is breakfast?
Or where the fitness center is, maybe the spa, how the Wi-Fi works. That's always a big one. Definitely
need the Wi-Fi info. And they always tell you how to call reception from the room phone, right?
Yeah. Dial 0 or 9, or sometimes a specific extension like 04 we saw mentioned. It varies.
Crucial details, especially, like you said, for something like the IELTS test, where they might ask about specific times or instructions.
Absolutely. Pay attention there. Then finally, you get your key, probably a key card these days.
And they'll mention the checkout time. Often 12 p.m., noon seems pretty common based on our sources.
That seems to be the standard. So during this whole check-in, there's a phrase the receptionist might use once they've checked your details. They might say, everything seems to be in order.
In order. That sounds maybe a little formal. What exactly does it signal?
It's a good one to know. In order just means everything is correct, it's all set, it matches their records, no problems found.
So your booking is confirmed, your details match, we're good to go.
Exactly that. It's reassuring. You might hear it elsewhere too. Are your travel documents in order? Means, are they all correct and ready?
Got it. So that covers a pretty smooth check-in, but things aren't always standard. People often have specific needs, right? Special requests.
Oh, definitely. Our sources showed lots of examples. Requesting a room on a higher floor, maybe? For the view? Or sometimes people think it's quieter.
Or specifically asking for one away from the elevator to avoid the noise.
Right. Or you might have dietary needs. Asking about food allergies, maybe at breakfast, or if you plan to eat in the hotel restaurant.
That's a big one for many people. How do people usually phrase these requests? Politely, I assume.
Generally, yes. You'll hear things like, would it be possible to get a room? Or, I was wondering if. Using those softer, more indirect question forms.
Like, would it be possible to get a room on a higher floor, perhaps facing away from the street? Something like that.
Precisely. Other common requests we saw were about timing. asking about an early check-in if you arrive before the standard time.
Or the opposite, needing a late checkout and asking if there's a fee for that, which there often is.
Hotels often charge for late checkout because it affects their housekeeping schedule. Extending your stay is another one. Maybe your plans change.
And what about getting information about the local area? Asking the concierge.
Absolutely. That's a key role for the concierge. Guests ask for restaurant tips, help booking tours, advice on attractions.
Or even just, how do I get to the museum? Or, can you recommend a good taxi service?
Exactly. And again, the language might be slightly more formal sometimes. Could you perhaps recommend a restaurant that serves authentic local dishes?
Right. And people also ask about the hotel's own facilities too, don't they?
Sure. What time is the gym open? Or can I book a treatment at the spa? Basic info gathering.
Transportation comes up a lot too. Airport shuttles, does a hotel have one? What's the schedule? Is it free?
All very practical questions. And for some travelers, pet policies are crucial. Are you pet friendly? Do you have any special amenities for dogs?
So many potential requests. It really highlights how attentive you need to be during listening tasks, catching all those specific needs.
It really does. And this brings us nicely to our second idiom, go the extra mile.
How does that fit in here?
Well, it's often used to describe great customer service, especially when hotel staff handle these requests, if they do more than they strictly have to.
Not just answering your question, but really helping you solve a problem or fulfill a tricky request.
Exactly. Maybe you asked for allergy information, and they not only provide it, but also call a local restaurant to check options for you. That's going the extra mile.
So it means putting in special effort beyond the basic job requirement. Concierge really went the extra mile to get us those theater tickets.
Perfect example. It signifies exceptional service.
All right. Now, unfortunately, stays aren't always perfect. Sometimes things go wrong. What about complaints or issues?
That happens. Our sources covered things like air conditioning not working in the room. That's a common one.
Or maybe a mix-up with the room itself wrong type. Or maybe it wasn't cleaned properly.
Or issues with room service. Maybe the order is late or something is missing. Noise complaints, too, from the room next door, perhaps.
Even problems with food in the restaurant. They've run out of something you ordered.
Right. And when these things happen, the way guests communicate the problem is quite important. Often, even if they're annoyed, they start politely.
How so? What kind of phrases do they use?
Well, this leads perfectly into our third idiom. Hate to trouble you.
So they might start with that. I hate to trouble you, but...
Exactly. It's a very common, polite way to introduce a problem or a potentially inconvenient request. It shows you're aware you might be interrupting or bringing bad news.
So, I hate to trouble you, but my air conditioning doesn't seem to be working. Or, I hate to trouble you, but we ordered room service about an hour ago.
Precisely. It softens the complaint. You might even use it for a simple request. I hate to trouble you, but could you tell me where the nearest ATM is? It's about being considerate.
That makes sense. Politeness often gets you further, even when you're complaining.
Generally, yes. Diplomacy helps.
One more area our sources touched on was the difference between a basic limited service hotel and a full service or a luxury one.
Right. The experience and the communication style can differ quite a bit.
How so? What's the main difference you'd notice during check-in, for example?
Well, at a limited service place, it might be more transactional, efficient. Welcome, have you got a reservation? Get the details, give the key, basic info.
Quick and functional. Whereas at a luxury hotel,
the approach is usually more personalized. They might use your name more, seem less rushed. They're also more likely to proactively tell you about the premium services.
We offer complimentary breakfast in our dining room, or don't forget to visit our spa, that sort of thing.
Exactly. They'll highlight the extras. The concierge service will likely be more prominent. They might offer help with luggage immediately, ask about your preferences for the stay. It's just a generally more attentive interaction.
So understanding that context can also help you anticipate the kind of information and maybe the amount of information you'll hear.
Definitely. Different levels of detail, different focus.
So let's wrap this up a bit. We've walked through the typical hotel check-in, from arrival to getting the key. We've covered all sorts of special requests, from room preferences to local info.
And we looked at how to handle issues politely, using phrases like, hate to trouble you. Plus, we touched on how service styles can vary between hotel types.
And crucially, we kept linking it back to why this matters for your listening skills, particularly for IELTS, catching those names, times, room numbers, specific requests.
And don't forget the idioms. In order, meaning everything is correct.
Go the extra mile for exceptional service.
And hate to trouble you, the polite way to bring up an issue or request.
Right. The main takeaway really is about active listening, tuning into those details, understanding the context, even the tone.
Practice definitely helps. Try to visualize these situations. What would you say? What might you hear back?
Great advice. That's about all the time we have for this deep dive. Huge thanks for joining us on Listening 360.
We really hope exploring these hotel scenarios was useful for sharpening your English listening.
That's it for today's episode of Listening 360. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned something new. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss the next episode. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we'll see you next Friday night. And just a final thought to leave you with. Think back on your own hotel check-ins. Maybe a time you needed something specific, or perhaps when something didn't go quite right. How did that conversation go? Reflecting on how well you understood things then and knowing these common phrases now might show you just how valuable these skills are for smoother, more confident travels in the future.